Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation. Today we'll be exploring the important topic of democratic rights. This is the first slide, so I just want to say how excited I am to have you all here. We'll be looking at what democratic rights are, why they matter, and how they shape our society. Over the next few slides, we'll cover key concepts and examples to help us understand these rights better. Let's get started. Let's take a look at the contents of today's presentation. We'll be exploring a variety of important topics related to rights and their significance in different contexts. We'll start with an introduction to set the stage for why these rights matter. Then, we'll examine the tragic ethnic massacre in Kosovo, highlighting the importance of protecting minority groups. Moving forward, we'll discuss what life is like without rights and the critical need for rights in a democracy. We'll also look into specific rights, such as the right to equality, the right to freedom, and cultural and educational rights, understanding how they shape equitable societies. The presentation will cover the rights against exploitation and the right to religious freedom, emphasizing their role in safeguarding individual dignity. Additionally, we'll analyze real-world examples like the prison in Guantanamo Bay and citizen rights in Saudi Arabia, providing a global perspective. We will explore how these rights can be secured and expanded, ensuring they evolve to meet changing needs. Finally, we'll wrap up by discussing the overall importance of expanding the scope of rights, so everyone can live with dignity, justice, and freedom. Throughout this journey, we'll see how these rights interconnect and form the foundation of fair and inclusive societies. Let's explore the core idea that elections and institutions alone are not enough to define a truly democratic government. They need to be complemented by a third element, the enjoyment of rights. Without this, a government might hold elections, but the people's fundamental freedoms might still be at risk. To understand this better, we'll look at some real-life cases that illustrate what it really means to live without these rights. These examples will help us grasp the importance of fundamental rights and why they need to be protected and expanded. Ultimately, the goal is to see how these rights are essential for a meaningful democracy, one where citizens not only have a say in governance, but also enjoy the freedoms that allow them to live with dignity and equality. This sets the foundation for our broader discussion on the scope and importance of fundamental rights in shaping just societies. Imagine a world without rights. Rights are the very foundation that allows civilized human society to function smoothly. Without them, things can quickly fall apart. In such a scenario, the powerful and the strong would dominate everything, leaving the weaker or less fortunate at their mercy. Think about it. If there were no rights to protect individuals, those in power could easily ignore justice when someone faces personal injury, threats, or harm to their life and liberty. There would be no guarantee of redressal or fairness. This highlights just how crucial rights are. They ensure that everyone has a fair chance and protection under the law. They prevent society from descending into chaos where might makes right. So, as we continue exploring the importance of rights, remember that they serve as the backbone of justice, equality, and peace in any society. Without them, the social order we value so much would simply unravel. On this slide, we look at the prison at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, which is a key example of human rights concerns. About 600 people are believed to be secretly imprisoned there by the United States. The U.S. government claimed that many of these detainees, including someone named Jamal Albana, had links to the 9/11 attacks in New York. What's particularly troubling is that families, the media, and even the United Nations have not been allowed to meet or properly see the prisoners. The treatment of these detainees has been very harsh. They are denied access to courts and legal processes. Amnesty International, a well-known human rights organization, has reported serious violations of U.S. laws in how these prisoners are being treated. Despite pleas from the prisoners themselves and the international community, the U.S. has not responded positively. This situation raises serious questions about justice, transparency, and human rights, issues that are central to understanding the broader themes of our presentation. On this slide, we're focusing on the citizens' rights in Saudi Arabia. The country is led by a hereditary ruler, which means the king holds a central, powerful position. He is the one who decides the structure and functioning of the three main organs of government. This centralized authority significantly impacts how rights are distributed. Citizens, for example, do not have the right to form associations or groups, which limits their ability to organize or voice collective concerns. Moreover, there's no freedom of speech or expression, so people cannot openly share their opinions without fear of repercussions. Religious freedom is also restricted, as there's no right to freely practice or change one's religion. Additionally, women's rights are limited, including restrictions on their social interactions and participation in public life. All these points highlight the overall theme of governance and social control in Saudi Arabia, where individual rights are limited and authority remains concentrated in the hands of the ruling elite. Let's talk about the tragic events in Kosovo, a province that was part of Yugoslavia. The majority of the population there was Albanian, but interestingly, Serbs were actually the majority in the country overall. This sets the stage for a lot of tension. Slobodan Milosevic, a Serbian nationalist, won the elections with a very narrow margin. His aim was to establish Serb dominance, which meant he expected minorities like the Albanians to either leave or accept Serb control. In April 1999, a heartbreaking incident illustrates this brutality. Batisha Hoxha, who was 74, and Izit, who was 77, heard explosions. Suddenly, 6 soldiers stormed into their home. They shot Izit 3 times, then took her wedding ring, threw her out of the house, and set her home on fire. This kind of violence wasn't isolated. Thousands of Albanians faced similar treatment. It was a dark chapter driven by ethnic hatred and a desire for domination, which ties into the overall theme of ethnic conflict and violence we've been discussing. So, what exactly are rights? Rights are essentially claims that we have as individuals, claims we can make over other people, over society, and even over the government. But it's important to remember that a right only exists when we can make a claim that others can also make. It's about fairness and equality. Rights only gain their meaning within society. Every society creates rules that guide us on what is right and what is wrong. These rules help us live together peacefully and responsibly. And the key point here is that what society recognizes as rightful, what society accepts as just and proper, forms the basis of our rights. So, in a democracy, rights are deeply connected to societal norms and shared understandings, making them essential for protecting our freedoms and ensuring everyone's voice is heard. Rights are absolutely essential for democracy to function properly. They are the foundation that allows democracy to exist and thrive. Every citizen must have the right to participate in the democratic process, whether that's voting, expressing opinions, or engaging in public debate. Without these rights, democracy would lose its meaning. In addition, citizens also have the right to be part of the democratic government itself, whether through elections or other means of involvement. Rights also serve as a safeguard for minorities. In a democracy, the majority rule is important, but it's equally crucial to protect the rights of those in the minority so they aren't overlooked or oppressed. However, problems can arise when some citizens try to take away or undermine the rights of others. That's why safeguarding these rights is so vital. They ensure fairness, equality, and the proper functioning of democratic systems. Ultimately, rights are not just individual privileges. They are what keep democracy balanced, fair, and resilient. Today, I want to talk about rights in the Indian Constitution. You see, certain rights are so essential to our daily lives that they are given a special status in the Constitution. These are known as fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are basically the rights that protect our freedom, equality, and justice. They ensure that every citizen has the freedom to express their opinions, practice their religion, and move freely across the country. They also guarantee equality regardless of gender, religion, or social status. These rights are fundamental because they form the backbone of our democracy and help us live with dignity and respect. Remember, these rights are protected by the Constitution, and they are crucial for maintaining a fair, and just society. Today, let's talk about the right to equality, which is a fundamental aspect of our Constitution. The government cannot deny anyone the right to equality before the law in India. No matter who you are, whether you're a poor landless laborer or the Prime Minister, you are equal in the eyes of the law. This means that the law treats everyone the same, regardless of socioeconomic status or power. Everyone has equal access to public places and facilities like temples, bathing ghats, roads, public toilets, and community wells. It's important because it ensures that no one is excluded from basic services just because of their background. When it comes to employment, every citizen has an equal opportunity to compete for public jobs, such as civil services or defense services. However, to promote equality and address historical disadvantages, certain provisions give special preferences to groups like the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, women, and other backward classes. Likewise, physically disabled individuals are also given reservations in government jobs to support their inclusion. Another crucial point is that untouchability in any form has been banned and is considered a punishable offense. This was a major step towards eradicating social discrimination and promoting harmony. All of these measures together reinforce our commitment to fairness and equality, which are vital for building a just and inclusive society. Today, I want to talk about the right to freedom. This right essentially means that we are free to do what we want without unnecessary interference from others. Of course, this includes restrictions to ensure that one person's freedom doesn't harm another's. But mainly, it allows us to express ourselves, choose our lifestyle, and pursue our goals. An especially important point is that this freedom is protected from interference by the government, so our personal choices are respected and safeguarded. This right is fundamental because it encourages individual autonomy and helps us live with dignity. It connects to the overall theme of human rights by emphasizing the importance of personal liberty in a fair and just society. Let's talk about the right to freedom of religion. The Constitution guarantees us this fundamental right, meaning each of us is free to follow the religion of our choice. This freedom is crucial because it allows individuals to believe and practice their religion without fear of interference. The government, for instance, does not get involved in religious matters, which helps maintain a respectful separation between religion and state. Everyone has the right to profess, practice, and propagate their religion, so long as it doesn't harm others. Religious groups or sects are also free to manage their own religious affairs, which promotes diversity and autonomy within our society. However, it's important to remember that no one can force another person to accept a particular religion. Coercion or compulsion is not allowed. Additionally, individuals are free to convert to any religion they wish, which highlights the personal nature of religious belief. But it's important to note that freedom of religion doesn't mean doing whatever we want in the name of religion. The right is about respecting others' beliefs and practicing our religion responsibly and peacefully. This right is a cornerstone of our democratic values, ensuring freedom, respect, and harmony among all citizens. Let's talk about the rights that protect minority groups, specifically their cultural and educational rights. Each minority has the right to safeguard its unique culture and also to promote it actively. This means they can celebrate their traditions, customs, and languages without fear. If a minority community wants to teach their children in their own language, they are free to do so. This is important because language is a core part of cultural identity, and preserving it helps maintain their uniqueness. Also, it's crucial to note that government-run institutions cannot refuse admission to anyone based on religion or language. This ensures equality and non-discrimination in education, reinforcing the idea that everyone should have access to learning opportunities regardless of their background. These rights are essential in fostering an inclusive, diverse society where all cultures and languages are respected and protected. They tie into our overall theme of promoting unity in diversity and safeguarding minority identities within the larger national fabric. Now, let's talk about how we can actually secure these fundamental rights. When any of these rights are violated, the affected individual has the right to seek what's called a constitutional remedy. Essentially, This means going to the court to have your grievances addressed. It's important to remember that no government body, whether it's the executive, the legislature, or any government official, can violate these fundamental rights. They are protected by law. If someone's rights are violated, they can file a public interest litigation, or PIL. This is a powerful tool because it allows anyone, any citizen, to approach the judiciary if they see a violation happening. PILs make it easier for people to stand up for rights not just for themselves, but for the community or society at large. In short, the constitutional remedies, especially through PILs, serve as a safeguard, ensuring that the rights of citizens are protected and that justice can be accessed when violations occur. This ties back to our overall theme of safeguarding individual freedoms and the rule of law. Now, let's talk about how the scope of our rights has expanded over time. Times have changed drastically since the days when our Constitution was written. As society evolved, so did our demands for new fundamental rights. Some of these demands have been recognized and included under the umbrella of fundamental rights. For example, the right to education, which was added recently, ensures that every child has the right to elementary education. This is a significant step because it guarantees access to basic education for all children. Similarly, the right to information, or RTI, was enacted not too long ago. This right allows any individual to demand information about the functioning of government departments or officials. It's a powerful tool that promotes transparency and accountability, helping us understand how our government works. Overall, these expansions reflect the changing needs of society and our ongoing pursuit of justice and fairness. They also show how our fundamental rights continue to grow, ensuring that they remain relevant and effective in protecting our interests today and in the future. Now, let's talk about the expanding scope of rights, starting with South Africa. Their constitution guarantees citizens a range of new rights that reflect modern concerns. For example, the right to privacy is a fundamental one, meaning that searching homes, tapping phones, or opening communications without proper legal procedures is not allowed. This helps protect individuals from unwarranted invasions of their personal lives. Additionally, citizens have the right to access adequate housing and healthcare services, ensuring that basic needs are met and that everyone can live with dignity. These rights are crucial for fostering a fair and just society. Looking at India, there's a similar expectation that these kinds of rights, like the right to a healthy environment, sufficient food, water, and emergency medical treatment, should also be recognized as fundamental rights. This highlights a growing global awareness that basic human needs and a healthy environment are essential for the well-being of all. In summary, expanding the scope of rights reflects a broader understanding of what it means to live with dignity and security in a modern society. These rights are about protecting our personal freedoms and ensuring access to essential services, ultimately connecting back to the overall theme of social justice and human rights.